And welcome to Salam Media Highlights with myself, Salaylo Mokwidir. And that short snippet that you just saw there was from, I think, one of the films that you definitely need to see. It's called From Ground Zero, and it's Palestine's entry for Best International Feature Film at the 97th Academy Awards, or the Oscars. And today on Salam Media Highlights, we bring you an extraordinary conversation with one of Palestine's most prominent filmmakers, Rashid Masharawi. And I think this is a very, very important conversation to have as Gaza continues to grapple with unimaginable tragedy. Masharawi has turned the lens onto the voices of resilience and creativity emerging from devastation. His film From Ground Zero is Palestine's entry for Best International Film at the 97th Academy Awards, as I mentioned, and it's a stunning mosaic of about 22 films made by Gazans, and this is amidst relentless violence and loss. And this cinematic masterpiece doesn't just document destruction, and I think this is very, very important to note. It celebrates the human spirit, courage, and creativity of a people under siege. And Rashid joins us right now live from France, where he's currently based, to discuss the power of storytelling, especially in the face of genocide, the challenges of filmmaking in Gaza, and what this Oscar-shortlisted work represents for Palestinian cinema and the global community. Rashid, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us on Salam Media. Really, really a pleasure having you talking to us this morning.
Thank you very much. Salam alaikum to you and to everybody who is watching or listening. Thanks.
Pleasure's all ours. Rashid, the world has seen, a glimpse of Gaza's distraction. I think what we are seeing on the news, what we're seeing online, is only a glimpse of what Gaza is currently going through. But from Ground Zero, you almost dare to take us deeper into what's currently happening in that part of the world. And I think you touch on the hopes and the fears of humanity and all of the people of the world. And it was quite intriguing for me. How does one begin to craft something as sacred, something that's meant to be a beautiful expression, an art piece, an art craft under conditions of genocide, literally, where survival itself, being alive, is an act of defiance?
Yes, it's first, we are filmmakers. It means before the war and far from anything, we love cinema and we make films. This is the idea. But me, myself, I born and grew up in Gaza. All my family in Gaza. I made many films as a director or in Gaza or about Gaza. So when this war broke up, then the idea was to say, okay, now far from the news, far from all what they are showing in the television, we are going to make project for cinema, for
Mm,
cinema to make the people come to see the small details of life, to describe really reality, to try to share stories with the world through art, through cinema, through culture, and using all our talent from all these men and women who is dealing with the war existing in Gaza, because right now the 22 filmmakers who join me to make this project, they are in Gaza now. It's mean they
mm,
are exactly like all the other people. They are trying to save their own life. They are trying to search for food, for medicines, for safe places. Even if they decided for a ceasefire, which is not valid yet, but still the situation is very tough in Gaza in these days.
I want to touch a bit on that. The fact that all of the 22 filmmakers that you worked with on this piece are all in Gaza. As I was doing my research, I came across an article where you've described this film as a miracle. Could you walk us through, the practical and emotional challenges of collaborating with 22 filmmakers who are, as you mentioned, surviving a genocide, surviving unspeakable personal loss, but still expected to come up with an art piece, a project of a magnitude of this size?
As you can imagine, when there is no safe place in Gaza, and all the time there is all this bombing and rockets who really destroy building and killing hundreds of people every day. I am talking also about the period when we were in January, February, March 24. We were in the middle of the shooting until May, and for sure, the priority of these people or these filmmakers, it's not to go to shoot films or to make
Mm,
cinema or to think about art. The priority was to be safe and to save the family and really to to help. It's been their own self just to hide or to find places. This is the time where we started to say we must make films and show films. So in this case, it was very difficult. We should encourage them all the time to tell them it's very important to do. It's very important to share stories. Uh, for sure, once you are outside, because I am out of Gaza and they are in Gaza, you need communication. So many times we don't have electricity for a few days. When you have no electricity, this means you have no batteries to charge the cameras. You cannot charge mobile phone. There's no internet, and then we need to stay and to wait until we can get connection again with Gaza. And once we have a connection and we have a good place to upload material or to talk, then we were awake for a few days just to get the maximum out of this spot and this internet in this corner. So
mm.
we were all the time searching for electricity and internet in Gaza to keep going. I believe many people also risk their own life just to go to shoot. Things has nothing to do with the news. Things we were dealing with the life, with the dreams of the people. Most of these stories are personal stories. So people are painting, people are making theater, people are dancing. People also are dying and losing people and suffering all the time in the life and also in these films. So it was really unusual production, let's say, or unusual way of filmmaking or producing or whatever. But in the end, we manage with the
Mm.
help and the support of all these filmmakers. They made something really a miracle just to
No,
keep shooting
definitely.
and doing. Yeah.
And my thinking is, as someone who's a creative, I know when you are working on something, you always have to tap on an emotion. There's always an emotion that will spark the inspiration behind your work. And I'm just thinking when the only emotion that's available for you at that moment is one of unimaginable loss. It's one of destruction, and it's just overwhelming every part of you. Is it that one emotion that you tap on and you try to create something positive out of it? Did you go through that where sometimes you tap on hope, and it's one overarching emotion that sparks your inspiration, but there's just one this time. Gaza
Yeah.
and the people there are literally dying, all of them.
Yeah. But we should believe all the time that there is a hope. Also, we should count on cinema to add hope for the people. I think to be optimistic and to believe that tomorrow will be better, this is could drive us to keep going, to keep doing. As I say always, cinema not only can show hope and add hope. If there is no hope, cinema can invent it and put it into the image and show it to the people and make the people adapt it and it become true in the end. Because I also believe that the future of the Palestinians, it's in Palestine. No
Mm,
war forever. No Israeli occupation for Palestine forever. This is a very difficult period. We should deal with this. And it was really very, very tough emotionally for us. It's experience that we never experienced before. When you know that there's people under the building, they are alive, and you know them personally, and you hear the sound, and nobody can bring them out. It's very difficult. When uh, when mothers write names of the kids on the body, in case of they bomb all the building, they want to know who is this kid belong, or they want to
mm,
collect all the body together and to know from whom this body. It's very difficult. We have scenes in From Ground Zero when kids are asking mothers why you are writing my name in my body, and the mothers don't know what to answer, how to answer. In case of
mm,
what? In case of they bomb us and I want to find you. It means it's really very, very tough. At the same time, we were focusing in all the innocent people who has nothing to do with all this war. They are dying because they was in this location at this time as a population of Gaza. It means, and they have a lot of stories. They
mm,
have the stories of any human being in the world have. It means they want to be safe. They want to have food. They want to have hot water. Um, they have their own dreams. Suddenly, all the life stop. At the same time, the outside Palestine, outside Gaza, after more than 460 days, things is still going on. I mean, nobody cares. No hospitals, no medicines, no
mm.
medical system, no medicines. It was a big disappointment for us the way how the world was treating all this genocide in Gaza.
Mm, mm, mm. And I want to touch on a point that you've made that, the people of Gaza are just like everyone else. They have hopes, they have dreams. And one thing that I think Western media particularly often focuses on when it comes to Gaza is the destruction and the death. But this film from Ground Zero, one thing that stood out for me is the portrayal of joy, hope, and resilience. What message do you hope these untold stories convey to the global audience? And was it intentional for you to say, as much as there's so much destruction and death and misery happening in Gaza, there's still human beings. There's still young children who want to go out and play. There are still lovers who want to get married. There are still children going to school. There's still life, and these are still a people, and we shouldn't just relegate and downgrade them to people that are just surviving a genocide, although that's important and needs to be highlighted.
You know, I was aware also of all these messages because I also want to go to tell the untold stories through art and through cinema. For sure, one of the most messages that we want also the people to see that they are not killing only us in Gaza. They are killing everybody. They are killing you as a human being outside Gaza. In Gaza, they are killing your own humanity in Gaza because we all the same. We all sharing this life. Yeah, we all sharing this globe, and some of us they are killing in this way as a genocide in Gaza. So I was focusing in all these elements that we all share together, and it was obvious sometimes to come and to remind the world that the Palestinians also a human being. It's
Mm,
really insulting, to try it again and again and again to say we are also a human being like you. It means
mm,
so. I want everybody who watch from ground zero to have the feeling that they are killing himself also in Gaza. And if you want to do something, you don't need to do something only for the Palestinians and for Gaza. You have to do something for yourself to protect
mm.
your humanity and not to accept what's going on there.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I found really, really interesting while doing my research about the film is the noise of the Israeli drones, and how they posed, a somewhat unique challenge during the production and post-production of the film, particularly when it came to sound editing. How did you balance, the authenticity of Gaza's lived experiences with the technical demands of filmmaking? And can you just take us through that? The
Yeah.
drones that are circling above, and the people in Gaza trying to film this thing.
Yeah. Because there is this drone, what the Gazan people inside Gaza call it. They call it
Mm.
zanana, which is because it's make all the time this, and this sound. It's uh, 24 hours a day. It never stops day and night. It's there all the time. And technically, in one hand, because we want to be close to reality in all the film, so we should keep it. In another hand, technically also because these films are going to cinemas, these films are going to big festivals in the world, so we should make it possible that it will not bother, and we need to hear also the other sounds, and we need to hear also the talks of the characters. This is why to deal with the sound in from ground zero, it was very difficult process, not like to make a color correction for the image and to make the good resolution for the image. No, the sound was a big issue. We need to work with special people who have special programs and applications just to filter sometimes certain sound. The sound editing for from ground zero was really a big process, and in the end we manage also to keep it as an artistic element or as real element from the reality in Gaza, and also to design the sounds of the film in a very technically and artistically in a very high level that you can, once you are sitting in a cinema or in a film festival, you can hear the sound is good, the sound is digital, the sound is
Mm,
surround also the way how usually films
mm,
international or important or good or big films are. I mean, we work this way. This process was all in France and with French sound editor and technician, and with French uh, mixing studio. It was a
mm,
really big deal to deal with the sound, especially when we are in Gaza, need to record sound or to record voice from characters because of certain films. Then they need sometimes to go to close themselves in a car, to go far from the action, to go to get inside the cupboard and put
Mm,
carpets and to create inside the tent like cabin of studio improvisation from the elements you find around, just not to come to the best sound, but to come to something that it's possible to use. Something
mm.
direction. Sound was really a big deal in the post production of From Ground Zero.
Wow, wow, some really, really interesting, notes there. Having people just in their cupboards, in their cars, because there's like so much happening around them. I think this was a really, really, amazing feat of work that you and all of the collaborators, all 22 of them, came up with. But just in closing, many of the filmmakers, I think, began as just novices, people that were just using their mobile phones to try and tell their stories. What has what has the success of Ground Zero meant for them, and having it possibly winning an Oscar, or maybe just being shortlisted, at the Academy Awards? I'm sure it must have been quite a special moment when you broke the news to them.
Yes, it is. You know, the filmmakers in Gaza now in these days, they are very, very proud of uh, their own participation in From Ground Zero. They are following all the news in the media, in the social media about From Ground Zero. Every one of them has a short film shortlisted in the Oscar because it's 22 filmmakers from Gaza. This is the
Mm,
project which has become shortlist for the Oscar. It's also encouraged them to keep making films after From Ground Zero, which is very important for me that the filmmakers in Gaza, they are making films in Gaza now. Right now, around 10 films we are making in Gaza, in different places in Gaza, with filmmakers from Ground Zero or filmmakers out of From Ground Zero, new filmmakers. We are making many documentaries now in all Gaza. I think all this success of From Ground Zero internationally, or being shortlisted, or all the reviews that they are looking and reading about From Ground Zero, it's encouraged them to go on even stronger and deeper and to think more and more about cinema, about art.
mm.
And this
No,
is very
definitely.
important for me.
Rashid, before I let you go, I want to put you on a spot a bit. Gaza, the people of Palestine, and I think the whole struggle that the people of Palestine are currently going through is something that a lot of South Africans, if not all South Africans, resonate with quite closely. We see ourselves in Gaza as much as the people of Gaza see themselves in us. Will there be a possibility of a screening in South Africa? Please tell me yes.
For sure, yes. For sure, yes. I will be happy and very proud with any screening in South Africa. Uh, we were showing a few films for kids from Ground Zero long time ago in a short film in a film festival for kids in the name of Mandela
Mm,
Film Festival. Just few films. We will arrange also to show all from Ground Zero in South Africa. As you know, and as everybody know, our big problem was the Ghazian people left alone in this
mm,
case. And the first people who jump and they say, hey, you are not alone, we are with you, it was South Africa. We appreciate this a lot. It gives us a lot of power for the Ghazian or for the Palestinian or for the humanity also to say, okay, you are not alone. We are also going to defend your case. And we know
mm,
also all the history of South Africa. I don't want to get into this now. I was with Arafat in Palestine when Mandela was between the first people who visited us
mm,
inside Gaza after Arafat come to Palestine. I think it's an old story. It's kind of similar destiny, and we want to also use this experience of South Africa to believe that a human being can be free one day and they can build their own country and they can make really big things and manage their own dreams on their own land. South Africa, it's a big example for us.
No, definitely. And I think we're going to leave it on that note. Rashid, Jazakallah so much for talking to us. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation and wishing you all the best and making dua that, at least, we come back with that Oscar. And yeah, looking forward to having From Ground Zero being screened here in South Africa. I think it would be a really, really big deal. And a lot of South Africans would really appreciate it.
Allah, let's go. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
That
much.
was Rashid Masharawi. He's an iconic filmmaker and I think a fearless storyteller who's reminding us of the power of cinema to amplify the voices of the oppressed and most importantly, to bring light to the darkest corners of humanity. His latest work, From Ground Zero, doesn't just showcase the resilience of Gaza's people, but it challenges all to almost confront the realities of injustice and to reflect on the role that we play in building a more equitable world. And as we wrap up this conversation, we leave you with this thought. Storytelling is resistance, and art is a bridge to understanding. Thank you so much for joining us on Salam Media Highlights. Until next time, stay informed, stay compassionate, and let's continue to amplify the voices that matter. From me, Salal, and the rest of the team, shap shap.